throwing the like what are they called? They're the black oozes, the black like the black jellies or whatever that are really nasty. Just chucking them like, you know, little grenades or big grenades, I guess. That's one thing that I'll probably have to. Yes, black puddings. Thank you. That's one piece that not sure if I'm gonna. I think I like the. I think there's a layer action for this dragon in the main monster manual that's like swarms of insects, and I might do a riff on that. I don't know if I'll do swarms of insects necessarily, but I like the idea of some sort of swarm. We'll see. And I also did some brainstorming on what might happen if the context is that it's like it's a temple. There's a temple that's in a basically a swamp that's kind of overtaken a region, and for, you know, all sorts of reasons. And if the players in sort of desperation go, okay, let's just, you know, let's run into the temple because, you know, the door is just standing open there. Did some brainstorming on what'll happen because I think the black dragon would go, you know, crashing into the temple entrance after them. Man, dragons can be so annoying to paint. Let's see. Set him back like this for a second. But we'll see what they decide to do. Get some more purple in there. Oh man, yeah. I have dragons, so many dragons to paint well. I've slapped together a few, but I have a few that I'm proud of that I've spent, you know, what I think is like the appropriate amount of time on. But yeah, more often than not, I'm like, okay, I just have to get something on this to put it on the table. But better to play than to not, so. But it's really nice to be able to take time to try to get something a little bit more done. Let's see, I think first dragon I ran was a white dragon. Next time I really properly ran a dragon was probably, I have a pretty cool nightmare dragon, which is super usable in a lot of different ways. It's also not very big, so it's easy to kind of sell it as maybe like a weaker dragon. I have a green dragon that I'm happy with. And that might be it in terms of like the minis that I have that I'm like, oh yeah, like white dragon, nightmare dragon, green dragon. I feel fully stocked on those, but I've got a half-assed red that I've run before that needs fixed. I've got a young black dragon that also wasn't finished. It's just shameful. Just shameful. Get to him at some point. I think the first real boss monster and boss like encounter that I ever really got into, kind of painted up a bunch of terrain, painted the monster to a point that I was satisfied, was a bone golem. And I did this, you know, kind of blood fountain thing. Felt really good about all of that. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the blood fountain came from Black Magic Craft. Oh, thanks Arcane for the share. I appreciate it. I have built a lot of terrain using Black Magic Craft tutorials. I'll have people sometimes, you know, ask in the comments of my videos and stuff, hey, you need to do tutorials, you need to do videos on how you made all this stuff. I'm like, I can just direct you to way better videos on all this stuff made by people who specialize in videos on how to make this stuff. I just design and play with the stuff. How-to crafting is a whole other game. But it's fun. It's fun to do. That's awesome. I feel like he's a gateway in. I feel like there's two main phases so far that I've noticed when people online talk, and those phases are like either they came in with DM Scotty or they came in, you know, with Black Magic Craft. It feels like those are the two main doorways in that I always hear people talk about. Hey Tube, how's it going? Just making some progress on this dragon here. I think I want to do some horns. Which I think I want to start with like a tan actually, or like a brown. Like a light brown, not quite straight to white. Yeah, Black Magic Craft was where I started too. I didn't know about Scotty until after. Okay, so I think on this guy, I think I want to do horns and claws in a, get him held in front of the camera correctly. I think I want to do his horns up top and all of the like bone kind of claw pieces at the end. I think I'll do all those initially in this kind of really light kind of tan color, and then I'll go from that to maybe dry brushing on more of a white. So I think that's the plan. Maybe at the end of the tail even, see how that goes, but probably, yep, that's what I'm gonna do next. Yeah, there's been a number of times I've worked on something or followed somebody's instructions somewhere in the mix. It's like, yeah, this is like a remix on something DM Scotty did, and I go look it up, and it's like, wow, he's been doing this for so long. But I'm trying to think, I think only a few of his techniques that I've used, not many really, but he's done so much stuff. It's crazy. And I do want to check out his, I've heard good things about DM Scotty. I think made the Easy D6 system, like a new book that I need to pick up and try out. It's probably got some ideas in it that I would like. Ideas that I would like in contrast to that song, which I did not like. All right, let me pull the camera this way, just touch. See if I can get more of this half of the table in view. There we go. Nice part about running a couple of games of D&D, which right now I run 2 every week, both have been running for a while, is that sometimes you can line up, it's not as often as I would like, but sometimes I'm able to line up things to benefit stuff that I'm making or painting. Can work in both places, and this Black Dragon fortunately will be definitely usable in both games, so I think that sort of helps with how long I can justify working on it, which isn't like long, but certainly like anything for a few nights worth of effort is not nothing. I can't say I know a ton about other systems either, Arcane. It's been like, I am not really a player of other systems. Like, I don't have a ton of experience at all with that, but I'm curious about them because sometimes there are ideas where I'm like, oh, I'll just pull that idea into mine or find a way to incorporate it. Definitely not too into one system yet. I mean, I definitely am. Like, I'm into 5th edition is what I run, but 5th edition lends itself pretty well to being all sorts of tweaked, and I do a little bit of that. I was actually just talking to somebody, I think on Reddit, about just very briefly about like cool stuff to do with like druids. Druids are something that I try to do a little bit of heavy lifting with anytime I have a player that is a druid. Yeah, I feel like Arcane, I feel like we all do. I feel like we all kind of have to, especially if your players do anything want to do anything reasonable, like, hey, can I craft? It's like, shit, yes, of course you can. Let's homebrew something. Or like, I have a player who's like, hey, can I like not really craft, can I like tinker and like invent and build things? It's like, fuck, yeah, of course you can. Let's homebrew some stuff. And I think that I think I heard you talking about on a stream once that you also do a bunch of stuff with languages. And I do a little bit with that, but mostly I augment Thieves' Cant to use like symbols so that thieves have some like a code they can translate out in the world, and like druids can do all this like kind of communicating with other druids using like birds and wind and stuff like that. just to try to give some opportunities for people to do a little bit more with those kind of classes, that kind of stuff. And I figure by the time I've done this for a few more years, all of those ideas that I have will be a lot more concrete and easier. I won't be doing as much, custom rolled stuff every time. I'll just be like, oh yeah, here's how I've done this for years. Yeah, that's what I remember you talking about, Arcane. You can learn languages. You're not fluent right away. I definitely like that. I've attempted something like that before. I think the group that I was trying it with, it didn't necessarily take hold, but I could also do a better job of making languages more of a thing. I think, and maybe this is because there are like spells to quickly get around these limitations, but I don't think I do a very good job in my game of making languages such a blocker like they could be. Downtime is tricky. Yeah, my second real big campaign, I kind of made a concerted effort to do that. Established like I made a Google Calendar that's just for tracking. It's not a Google Calendar, sorry. It's just a calendar like spreadsheet, and it's for tracking the in-game time. And I reference it here and there, and I started just forcing downtime on them, like without asking them, because players want to go, and that makes sense. That's a good thing. So after they would kind of finish an arc, I'd be like, okay, and then you guys get back, and basically to recover from that arc, like, yes, you have hit points, yes, survival, blah, 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 but you guys have to stay put for a week to, like, basically